I don't think you can go 8 hours a day with something, whatever it is. And with me, it's a company with people who want to work at something. You can't do that unless you're in love, unless you have a passion.
You're listening to Business Lunch with Roland Frasier. This is your seat at the table.
Hey everybody, Roland Frasier here. Want to welcome you to this episode of Business Lunch with my very special guest, Joe Foster, who founded Reebok. And Joe, welcome to the show. Very happy to have you here today.
It's a pleasure, Roland. Thank you for the invitation. It's very nice. Thank you.
I had the opportunity to read your book and really enjoyed it. And I recommend, by the way, everybody, it's a little hard to find if you Google, so because there's so many shoemakers out there, but the title of the book is Shoemaker. So if you're Googling, do Shoemaker book Amazon or Shoemaker book Joe Foster, and you'll find it super easily. I know when I first started looking, it was a little hard to find, but it's absolutely wonderful read. And a beautiful story. So I recommend anybody that's listening should definitely get it and check it out. Also, it's not currently available in an audiobook format in the United States. It is in the UK, but not yet. Joe, do you know if are they planning on getting that released here in the States?
Well, it's probably a month or so ago, but I have had somebody who has received the audio version in the States.
Oh, yes. Interesting. And, so it's on Amazon. I wasn't able to get it, but hopefully they'll work that out, and maybe it's just me making a mistake. Yeah. That said, I was really right at the beginning. You come from, I believe, 5 generations of shoemaker.
It does go way back. It does indeed. Yes. I guess it's in the DNA because yes, we go back to. Well, my grandfather really first came to the forefront in 1895. So that's my grandfather. So we've got 3 generations. And then his grandfather.
Right?
That's where he got his idea from.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty crazy. And that was really interesting too, that and was it your great grandfather then that invented the cleat for football, for soccer?
No. My great grandfather, or my father's grandfather, was indeed a cobbler. He just used to repair street shoes. But also, apart from repairing street shoes, he did sports shoes as well. And really what he did in those days was cricket boots, because cricket was there before soccer, believe it or not.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
He used to repair cricket boots. And cricket boots did have spikes in the bottom. And I'm pretty sure that my grandfather said to his grandfather, why have you got spikes in the bottom of these shoes? And the obvious answer was to give them grip, so they don't slip when they're batting, they're bowling, they're fielding, they don't grip. And I think my grandfather got his idea then, well, he was a runner. He wasn't a very good runner, sort of midway down the field when he was out there running with his local athletic club. And so making himself a pair of shoes, he thought I could probably get one up here on the guys. And he did. He came a very unlikely second in the first race that he had with his spikes on. And he wasn't a big lad. So we do suspect that maybe he was a bit bullied into saying, look, if you're going to wear those, you got to make us some shoes as well.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned one thing you said was there's only room for one love when your heart is fully invested in your passion. I would love to hear your thoughts behind that, because it's something that I think every business person wrestles with.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think what you've read the book. We had to change our name, and we changed it to Reebok. And Reebok had to go to the registrar. And we said to the guys, look, we found the name Reebok, Small South African Gazelle. We can't have Mercury, but we want this one. And we need this because apart from all these other names we've given you, we have to be in love with this. It has to be our passion. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think you can go 8 hours a day with something, whatever it is. And with me, it's a company with people who want to work at something. You can't do that unless you're in love, unless you have a passion, unless you really, because it doesn't give you back all that much at times. At times, it gives you a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. So you've got to be in love. And when we say, well, one passion, yes. And I guess this cuts across whatever family life you do have. And I think what is important, probably what I learned from this, and is that it's better having a partner who's really with you.
Yes.
Your partner should be really part of that as well. Because if there is anything, if you've got to make choices at times, sometimes when you're running a business, you cannot make a choice of should I or shouldn't I. It's got to be done for the business.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put it to one side. And I don't suppose you can put a family relationship to one side, but maybe that's easier than a company.
Sometimes, right?
Yes, but you have to be in love. Not everybody is successful, but I think if you want to give yourself a really good chance of making it, you have to, your attention has to be undivided. You've got to give it that attention and that love. So I think it can be a strain on a family. It can indeed. Really, at the very end, before I left, we had 10 years of absolutely fantastic times. My wife could come, well, she could come with me anytime, but she didn't like to travel. But,
Right.
When we got to the pro celebrities and Hollywood, and you got all the celebs there, she loved that. So that was probably the compensation after having years of me saying, oh, I won't be here next week. I'm going to America, or I'm going somewhere else. I'm flying away. So yeah, I think that dedication you've got to have total devotion to a company, I believe, to really make it work. And just the family side of it, I think if you're lucky, and both of you can enjoy the pleasure of really is that's good if you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you also mentioned something a few times that I thought was really interesting. You said that you grew up in a world of the remarkably average, quote unquote. And you said that it was better, like aspiring to be better was something that was kind of looked down on. And they always said, know your place, don't rock the boat, that kind of stuff. And you mentioned that a few times, along with there's kind of a philosophy as you were coming up of birth, work, death. And I'd love for you to chat just a minute about that and how, because you were different from that. You had a different ethos, and I'd love to kind of, how was that, and is that still the case? Do you see as you hang out, and is it still in Bolton where you are?
Bolton is very different these days than those days, but that's due to immigration and all things change as well. Now, I think we've got to go back to the 1950s. I mean, we're talking some 70 years. We're talking a long time. And this is World War II was finished. We're coming out of it. Everybody, we all had one enemy, and that's getting through the enemy. So we were all together. People were very friendly. We didn't have automation. We didn't have things. We didn't have computers. We didn't have mobile phones. In fact, you were very lucky if you had a telephone in your home.
Right.
So you lived with the community. And that community, somehow, you lived in that way. As it happened, we did national service when I was 18. And you developed a social sort of gathering people together up till that point. And then you went away for 2 years. Suddenly, what you knew was normal wasn't normal. Mother wasn't there making the bed, doing your washing, making your food. So all of a sudden you were looking after yourself, and the mind changes. What do we do? I think if we hadn't had national service, I probably would have been still amongst the yes. You grow up, you do your job, you do whatever. And in those days, there were plenty of jobs, manual jobs, things physically. Now things have changed. We're all automated. Everything's becoming technology. And the technology is taking over, taking you away from that life. So way back then, yes. And for me, I probably was a little bit rebellious, probably didn't particularly quite want to fit into that. I wanted to do something different. And of course, you slide in, well, what's different? So you don't like the idea. When we came back from national service and we saw our company, it is like stepping back. All of a sudden, we're stepping back a generation.
Right.
We're seeing a company still making shoes that was making in the 1930s. But my brother, he'd been in Germany. And in Germany, he'd seen Adidas, Puma, he'd seen what they were doing. So when we came back, we just couldn't sort of sit there and take on the same role. In fact, I said to Father, look, we need to do something. We need to modernize the company. But since he spent more time fighting his brother and confusing with him, This wasn't good for the company. The company was going nowhere. And so every time I said, look, we need to do something, he would just say, look, when Bill's gone and I'm gone, this company will be yours. And I said, Dad, number one, we don't want you to go. That's not the intention. You know? We don't want you to go. But the problem is this company will have gone before you go. And we need to change. Didn't work. 3 years we tried, didn't work. And that's when we left the company.